We're fortunate again to have Dr. David Adler, who's not only a medical practitioner, he's the president of the Australian Jewish Association. Welcome, David, and thank you for making time for us.
Thank you so much, Professor David Flint, and always very, very good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Adler, I've always seen over the years the extraordinary philanthropy of the Jewish community into the general community of Australia in the arts, in medicine, and all sorts of very worthy causes. Is this something special? Is this something which is part of Jewish teaching?
It's interesting you raise the question in that way, because the answer is a clear yes. There is actually a rule in Judaism that you should provide something called tzedakah. It's a Hebrew word which roughly translated means charity. And the rule is to give 10% of your net income. And if you are fortunate enough to have an above average income, the actual Jewish teaching is the purpose of being in that advantageous position is in order that you should do additional good. And it has been a Jewish tradition, regardless, to be very generous in supporting worthwhile causes. You see very often sections of hospitals or universities or, as you say, the arts and culture sponsored by Jewish people in Australia and elsewhere. Yeah, it's a very firm part of the Jewish tradition.
And this has biblical support, does it?
Yes, it does. That's where the rule comes from. Tzedakah. The biblical writings actually specify that in agricultural times there are certain rules about leaving part of the crop, not picking up product that has been dropped, so that those that are poor and disadvantaged can access that form of agricultural product at no cost. So yes, back to biblical times, there is that tradition.
I find it extraordinary, as you no doubt do too, that in some of the cultural organisations, people are being anti-Semitic within those organisations. For example, the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, where you have these people coming in, they're performing, they're taking part, and they bring politics and a very nasty form of politics into those organisations. And obviously, this is going to drive some of the philanthropists away from the organisations.
100%. And it shocked us. I mean, if you're someone who appreciates classical music and you want to give financial support to classical music, you're not doing so in order to create an environment where radical politics is preached. And we have seen, as I'm sure you're aware because it's been in the media quite prominently, that some of the better known and wealthier Jewish families are reviewing the giving programs that they've had in place for many years. And perhaps one of the most sharp examples is that the universities, and maybe one of the worst universities in Australia is the University of Sydney. And if you go and walk around the campus of the University of Sydney, you'll see a large building named after Susan Wakil, W-A-K-I-L, big signage across the top of the building. And that was a result of the largest donation that Sydney University has ever received. I think it was in the order of $20 million. that particular family has suspended its financial support of the University of Sydney because it's become one of the ground zero locations for anti-Semitism in Australia at the moment, and the university administration has declined to deal with it properly. So their largest donor has put the brakes on.